And what was a trade that had Bulls fans up in their arms when Alex Caruso was traded for Josh Giddey? Josh Giddey has been on an amazing tear for the Chicago Bulls. So in today's episode, I want to talk about why the Chicago Bulls should feel great about Josh Giddey's future with the team. And we see the Clippers tonight. Y'all know we're going to talk about it all and break it down, but you got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. If you tuned in with me today, go ahead, pull your chair closer, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell as well. Now, y'all already know the other day, the Chicago Bulls whooped on those 76ers, and in that game, Josh Giddey was the man. He was the man. He did a little bit of everything and held his own to where he notched up his third consecutive 20-point double-double of this season in this moment right now. 3 of those in a row. Now, we're talking about the Chicago Bulls who made a bevy of moves, and I don't think they necessarily felt great about them, even though they tried to justify said moves in the past. You know, we're talking about your DJJs, your Andre Drummonds, keeping on Zach LaVine longer than you have to, keeping on DeMar DeRozan a little bit more longer than you have to, and absolutely trading Alex Caruso straight up for Josh Giddey. No draft capital whatsoever. And I'm still like, damn, we couldn't get one pick. But what's done is done, and we got to move on from that. And plus, you got to like what you've been seeing out of Josh Giddey. So why should the Chicago Bulls feel good about Josh Giddey right now and his future with the team? It's a number of reasons. The first reason on my list is the youthfulness of Josh Giddey. Alex Caruso was a guy that was in his 30s and traded away for Josh Giddey, and you get a Josh Giddey back in who a lot of people looked at like, hey, this man was about to be pushed to the bench up in OKC. Is that what it's going to look like for the Chicago Bulls? The Chicago Bulls said hell to the no. And I said it as soon as the trade went down and we had to go ahead and evaluate it. I said I did not like the move because I wanted to get a little bit more from the said move, but I was never like completely down on Josh Giddey being a player that you can utilize for the team. And right now, Josh Giddey, he offers the Chicago Bulls some runway with him possibly being on his team by receiving a long-term deal. We know that this offseason that's going to be coming up, he's going to be a restricted free agent. We heard that number being thrown out there, that 30 mil. We don't know where the number is going to fall at the end of the day, but he's making a hell of a case to get that damn 30 mil. He's making a hell of a case to get close to it. Hell, if depending on how he ends the season, he could definitely command a little bit over the 30 mil, especially with the expectations of the market cap, the salary cap going up. But we shall see. We will pump the brakes a little bit and allow Josh Giddey to still finish out the season because there's still some basketball left. But right now, the Bulls should be happy because you have a 22-year-old who has experience in the league who can still provide you with some good, solid basketball for years to come. We talk about Josh Giddey and why the Bulls should feel a little bit more, feel great, to be quite frank with you. It's simply because how he went into the All-Star break. Strong performance heading into All-Star break all season long. You've seen for the most part, Josh Giddey kind of struggled to find his footing. You know what I'm saying? You look at some situations here to where he's getting those 14, 15, 16 points, and then you're looking at some games, you're seeing single digits in that box score. We always known that he can go ahead and rebound and assist, but you still wanted a little bit more as a Bulls fan to see how he can impact scoring for now and the foreseeable future. And before the last 6 games of January, that's when it really started to hit off for Josh Giddey. He upped that point total to 13 points and was giving the Bulls, and these are rounding up the numbers, about 7 assists and 7 rebounds. So 13, 7, and 7. And he was efficient from the field and efficient from the three-point line. And now you look at a situation to where you're coming out of the All-Star break and Josh Giddey is playing like this. Josh Giddey is playing like this. This looked like a guy, and he's very well turning into a guy that's going to live up to what the expectation was when you originally bought him in, and that was to be a building block for the foreseeable future for your organization. Coming out of the All-Star break, my man Josh Giddey has, as previously mentioned, 3 straight games of 20-plus point double-doubles. According to the Chicago Bulls PR, Josh Giddey's 3rd straight double-double became the longest in team history in over 30 years and that's Josh Giddey, the 5th Bulls guard with at least 3 straight games with a 20-point double-double, according to Chicago Bulls PR. You even dive into the weeds a little bit and get a little bit more focused and look at that Philadelphia game and say, hey, Josh Giddey in the first half totaled 17 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, and 1 steal versus the Phoenix Suns. Versus the Phoenix Suns, becoming the only NBA player since 1996 to record such minimums in a half. That's impressive basketball, y'all. Now we crapped on Josh Giddey for all things considered, and some of them rightfully so. We crapped on him. But when a guy deserves some credit, you got to go out there and give him his love and show him and give him his credit. You have to give him his credit for playing some really, really good basketball. We talk about the impact on the defensive side for Josh Giddey. We talking about getting in the passing lanes, being active on the defensive end. We talking about being respectable as a on-ball defender and a one-on-one defender, kind of being a little bit on the side of as an attacker on the defensive side as well. You're seeing a different style of play, a little bit more physicality, a lot more aggressiveness out of Josh Giddey these last few games, spanning over the last few weeks, to be quite frank with you. Excuse me, still getting over that cold, y'all. But you see the offensive impact and you see the physicality. You know, when Josh Giddey put his head down, if there's a smaller guard on him, there's a chance he's getting moved out the way. I know y'all play musical chairs when it's 4 y'all and there's only 3 chairs. 2 people sit down before you sit down, and you got to battle it out with one person for the last chair, and you move them out the way so you can get the chair. That's what Josh Giddey doing going downhill, driving the basketball on some of these smaller guards that we seen try to defend him. I got to live with it. I love that type of play. I think that's where Josh Giddey can thrive the most, because when you going downhill and now you force the defense to close in on your driving ability, you open up those passing lanes, and then that turns into open shots for other guys. You seen Kevin Huerter be able to come out and knock down some threes. You seen Kobe White be able to have some of those open 3 opportunities. Matus Buzelis as well. Dalen Terry still trying to find his way with that 3-point shot and receive some consistent minutes, but he's getting those wide open looks as well, just due to the sake of Josh Giddey's impact on the basketball court. So when you look at all things considered on the defensive end, how he's accepted the challenge and said, I want to at least be respectable, he is steps way ahead on the defensive side of the ball than when we first seen him come on the scene with the Chicago Bulls. We always knew that was kind of like one of our pushbacks on Josh Giddey. Like, man, he can't defend to save his life. He couldn't defend a parked car the first few weeks of the season. Now this man can defend the parked car, grab the keys, open it up, and drive it down the block to create opportunities for himself and opportunities for the others. If y'all picking up that analogy on what I'm putting down, I'm just sitting right there and I'm looking at it, and I do understand Josh Giddey could very well command big money. And that's what the Bulls should want. You should want to pay guys that has earned their way. You know what I'm saying? You should want to pay guys or keep guys around who you believe can be impactful players. I believe Josh Giddey could be a impactful player because that's what he's been. And I think he can continue to do so as long as the Chicago Bulls don't say bump everything that we're trying to do and just go off the rails and just, let's say, pick up some weird type of, not weird players, but a style of player that don't necessarily fit. You know what I'm saying? Because you looked at how it was built previously with the regime and Zach LaVine, and you're looking at Debo, and you're looking at Lonzo, and you're looking at Caruso. You say, all right, cool. But their reluctancy to adjust and better make out the roster, that's what we can all kind of argue and push back and say what could have happened and what could have took place. But we look at those moves and we say, bro, this is some of the things that's holding us back. I don't necessarily think that if you lock up Josh Giddey for the sake of discussion for the next 4 or 5 years on a decent contract, I don't think that necessarily holds you back. Obviously, with that type of money is going to come greater expectations. But I will say this signing Josh Giddey won't be a P. Will situation. It will not be a P. Will situation because in just this one season from Josh Giddey, I seen more out of Josh Giddey than P. Will. P. Will was supposed to be this great defender. It's a little shaky right now. P. Will can't stay healthy either. Josh Giddey, his game, in my opinion, is not predicated on athleticism. It's more predicated on skill, in my opinion. However you want to arrange that, that's yours. But I'm saying his game is not based on athleticism. It's based more on skill. So I think that's something that you can look at when you compare how P. Will got his 90 mil, and you can kind of look at that and expect Josh Giddey to command more than that 18 million per. Definitely closer to the 25 million per. So you looking at that. You looking at the Nikola Vucevic deal. Nikola Vucevic, I'm not saying he was terrible and he didn't deserve the money, because Nikola Vucevic, for all things considered, if we keep in an objective mind, he's still a pretty good center, bro. And you got him for the low. But this ain't that type of situation because the age that Nikola Vucevic got this deal. It's still a favorable deal, in my opinion, but it's not what it's going to be for Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey, with that money, is going to come more expectations. I believe he's going to be able to fit the bill. Obviously, it's going to be up on him. Obviously, we can't jump too far ahead because he still has a lot of game left. But I think that from what you've seen right now, he can absolutely be a building block for you. What better way or what better thing to have than a 6'8" point guard that can pass, that's defending when he needs to, that's occasionally hitting a three at a high clip right now, rebounding out this world, assisting a rock, getting in the passing lanes, creating steals, and even getting steals himself, seeing some blocks and him yelling in people's face. That's the difference. You look at those things. And I would say this not even an Ayo Dosunmu and Kobe White situation. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that those two guys got the team-friendly deal. Those two guys was placed on the market and they seen what was out there and they ain't get much back and they had to settle. Now, I will say this. I don't know what type of desire is going to be out there for Josh Giddey from other teams. But I will anticipate there will be some other teams still looking like, hey, look what he did with the Chicago Bulls the second half. They might have some interest. I don't necessarily know because, again, we still have basketball left. But the way he's playing, and if he continues to play like this, price is going to go up. That's just what it is. I really believe price is just going to go up. So if the Bulls got him pinned in, let's just say for the sake of discussion, 22 mil right now, oh, you better get ready to cough up some more M's. That's just what is going to happen if this guy continues to push forward. And I don't think it's necessarily bad to have Josh Giddey as a building block for the foreseeable future. You got you a Josh Giddey, a 6'8" point guard that can rebound, assist, and be aggressive going downhill and help create and play make for others, you live with that. And you look at his chemistry with the guy like Montes Buzelis and his passing ability that can hopefully open up some things if you go out there and get a starting center with more athleticism. You can live with that. But we shall obviously see what's going to take place. But I still think ultimately the Chicago Bulls should feel great right now about the Josh Giddey move, simply because he's been on a tear and he looks like he's primed to be a part of the team for the foreseeable future, which when you traded for him without getting additional picks, this is what you want. A young player who already had experience, who's now in your organization and thriving, and you hope that he can continue to ascend in the right direction. Again, it's all on him. We'll see what happens. But before we get up out of here, we got to talk about the game later on today versus the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Chicago Bulls, we're going to take them on. The Los Angeles Clippers right now, they trying to fight for that play-in spot. Well, not the play-in spot, the playoffs. Currently the 6th seed in the Western Conference. Kawhi Leonard is said, or at least the expectation is that he's going to play tonight. They will be without Norman Powell, but let's not get it twisted. The Clippers are still a very, very talented team with a hell of a head coach over there. So it's still going to be all hands on deck. If you're looking at the Clippers and what they got, these guys picked up Ben Simmons and got him playing some center. Ty Lue got working some things out over there. You talking about guys who could have been an all-star who's not going to be present in the game tonight, and Norman Powell. You look at how he's been thriving. They went out and made a move for Bojan Bogdanovic. You want to see how that's going to work in. And they picked up guys like DJJ. They are a very well-balanced team. So it's going to be a difficult matchup for the Chicago Bulls. And for all the fans that was sitting there pissing their pants and got their panties up their asshole because the Bulls won a game versus the lowly 76ers, here's your chance to see the Chicago Bulls lose again, I guess. But I still want to see competitive basketball. Whether you win or lose, I think the ultimate goal here is to focus on player development. And I know there's going to be guys, we have to increase our odds to get the pick to go for flag. Y'all know the Bulls are in a weird spot, right? They are in the 10th spot, still in the play-in, and Brooklyn and the 76ers look like they don't want the 10th spot. Maybe more, maybe the Brooklyn Nets maybe wanted a little bit more, but neither of those teams look like they want the 10th spot. So the Bulls are going to be in a tough position, and Billy Donovan has let us know plenty of times the front office ain't asked him to tank, and he ain't really trying to tank. They trying to win basketball games. So I think so you can put all that animosity and that frustration to the side, focus on player development. Focus on how Montes Buzelis just in the last game versus 76 got 36 minutes. Focus on Josh Giddey on how he's continued to play well. Focus on Dalen Terry and how he set a career high in the last game and played extremely well. Focus on Kevin Huerter and how he's starting to find a three-point shot again. Focus on player development. And then we'll see what happens. We just let the dominoes fall where they're going to fall. The Bulls have the rights to their pick this season. You might not like it. You might feel like that the Bulls should have gotten more. And I'm not arguing against that. But the reality is, this is where we are. What else we going to do? Sit up here and pound the table and say, let's lose? We got to forget. We cannot forget that some of these players ain't with that tanking shit. Some of these players ain't finna sit up there and say, hey, I'm just going to go out there and bullshit around, especially considering Ayodo Sumo. It's only so many years left on that contract. Kobe White. It's only so many years left on that contract. Kevin Huerter. It's only so many years left on that contract. Zach Collins. We're talking about Trey Jones, who's now moved around to the next team. We're talking about Julian Phillips, who wants more opportunity. A lot of these guys ain't finna come out there and bullshit and ruin their careers. And you know what I'm saying? Tanking don't necessarily always ruin guys' careers, but these young fellas, I'm pretty sure these fellas are competitive enough to say, I want more years in this league. So take that for what you will. We got a game tonight. We'll see what happens. I'm not picking the Bulls to win. Y'all know we're going to put it on wax. I got the Clippers winning. But I still think that the Bulls have themselves a good chance to at least play competitive basketball. Again, if we focus on player development, you let the wins and losses take care of themselves. And then you won't have to sit here frustrated and pound the table and yell into your microphone or type paragraphs about how ticked off you are because the Bulls are winning. Focus on player development. And if a win happens and you see good things out of your young players, that's a win. It's a win. Take the wins where you can get them because the Bulls have been so low for so long. And what else you want these young players to do? But hey, that is it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. Excuse me. Go ahead and leave your comments, thoughts, and everything down below in the comment box. Let's chop it up on some Bulls basketball today. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you always see red. And you already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.